She ghosted you. No explanation. No warning. Just silence. One day she's laughing at your jokes, replying in seconds. The next, you're staring at your phone, rereading old messages, wondering what the hell went wrong. You try to act normal, but inside, you're spiraling. Your mind keeps replaying the last conversation. Was it something you said? Did you come on too strong? You don't text her again, then you do. Then you regret it. That's the setup. Weeks pass. She's posting like she's unbothered. You hear she's already moved on. And the worst part, she expects you to chase, to break, to show her that she still has power over you. But that version of you, that weak, reactive, approval-seeking version, he doesn't exist anymore. Because somewhere in that darkness, you found something ancient, something few men ever master, a mental shift, a quiet discipline, a stoic principle that changes everything. No, you didn't become colder. You became calmer, more focused, untouchable. Now, she sees it. The stillness in your eyes, the silence that says more than words ever could. And she starts to wonder what changed. But by then, it's too late. Because once you learn this stoic skill, the tables don't just turn, they flip. You see, this isn't just about her walking away. It's not even about the silence she left you with. It's about what you do next. Because right now, you're standing at a crossroads. One path takes you down the same route. Most guys choose obsessing, explaining, overthinking, trying to fix what went wrong. The other path is the one the great Stoics walked. It's not emotional. It's not loud. It's not for everyone, but it makes you unshakable. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact Stoic mindset shift that flips the entire script, not just in your relationships, but in your life. You'll understand a skill so powerful. It was used by warriors, emperors, and philosophers to dominate their emotions and command respect without ever raising their voice. It's the skill that makes you magnetic without chasing, focused without reacting, desired after you stop caring, and the best part, you won't need games. You won't need manipulation. You won't even need to explain yourself. Once you internalize this principle, the same one Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius lived by, people feel the shift in you without you saying a word. So if you've ever been disrespected, rejected, or blindsided by someone you gave your time, energy, or love to, stay locked in, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand the Stoic skill that changes everything, you'll embody it. And when you do, she'll regret everything. Let's rewind for a second. You met her, you vibed, you thought, this could be different. She smiled a little harder when you texted. She laughed a little louder when you spoke. It felt real, natural, like something was building. So you opened up, maybe not all at once, but little by little, you dropped your guard, you let her in. You started prioritizing her, thinking about her, maybe even rearranging your schedule just to keep her happy. She didn't ask for all that, but you gave it anyway. And then the shift happened. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but you felt it. That space between her replies got longer. That energy she used to give you, it faded. She stopped calling you by that nickname. She stopped asking how your day was. And eventually, she stopped altogether. She ghosted, left you unread. Or maybe she did something worse, stuck around just enough to confuse you, string you along, and make sure you stayed emotionally available while she wasn't. You told yourself, she's probably just busy. She'll come back. She just needs time. But let's be brutally honest. She wasn't busy. She just didn't value you the same way anymore. Now here's the dangerous part. Most men in this moment go into emotional panic mode. You start chasing, over-explaining, trying to prove your worth to someone who has already decided you're not a priority. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Should I send one more message? Maybe if I explain myself better, she'll understand. You try to act like you're okay, but inside, You're desperate for closure. You want answers. You want the version of her you first met, not the one she turned into. And when you don't get it, the pain multiplies. That's where the downward spiral begins. You start losing yourself, not just your confidence, but your purpose, your peace. You're no longer living life for you. You're stuck in reaction mode, constantly trying to fix something that was never yours to control. And that's the real issue here. Not that she left, but that she took something with her, your center. You gave it away without realizing. You handed her the remote to your emotions. And every time she pulled away, she pressed pause on your sense of peace. Every time she ignored you, she turned down your volume. But here's the truth that no one tells you. This pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of something powerful if you respond the right way. Because that emotional storm you're in is trying to break you. But for a select few men, it becomes the exact pressure that forges something stronger. That's where the Stoic skill comes in. And once you learn how to master it, the version of you she thought would fall apart becomes the version that rises in complete unshakable silence. She won't say it out loud, but she'll feel it. She'll notice, and when she does, she'll regret everything. Let me tell you something that'll hit you hard but free you forever. You've been trained to react, to chase clarity, to beg for answers, to prove your worth to someone who stopped seeing it. But here's what the Stoics knew and what you're about to learn. Power isn't in what you do. It's in what you choose not to do. The most powerful men in history, they weren't the loudest. They weren't the ones explaining themselves, defending their emotions, or chasing people who walked away. They were deliberate. They were stoic. And the skill that set them apart, the one you're about to master, is this: voluntary disengagement. Not silence out of weakness, not walking away because you're hurt, but choosing deliberately not to participate in drama, disrespect, or emotional games. It's a psychological power move. Because when you stop responding emotionally, you stop being controlled. Let's break this down. Voluntary disengagement is the discipline of withholding your reaction even when you're provoked. You don't explain yourself when someone doesn't deserve an explanation. You don't argue to be understood, you observe in silence. You don't chase someone who disrespected your presence, you remove your energy like it was never up for grabs. And here's what makes this skill so dangerous. People expect you to break. They expect that text, that call, that emotional monologue trying to win them back or prove your value. When you give them none of it, you disrupt the pattern. You become unpredictable, unreachable. And in that moment, you shift from the guy who cares too much to the one she can't stop thinking about. Because let's be honest, she didn't walk away expecting you to rise. She expected you to shrink. But when you disengage and focus inward, your silence screams, I don't need your validation to feel valuable. Now, this doesn't mean you're suppressing emotion, it means you're mastering it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's exactly what you're doing. You're stepping back not to give up, but to level up. While she's watching your Instagram story, hoping to see sadness, you're building, you're in the gym, you're stacking wins, you're moving in silence, letting your glow up do the talking. And slowly, it starts to hit her. You're not chasing, you're not checking in, you're not falling apart. You've become the storm she thought would destroy you. This is where regret creeps in. She remembers how much access she had, how quickly you replied, how deeply you cared. Now, you're detached, unbothered, different, and the version of you she once took for granted is gone. All because you mastered the one thing most men never learn. You don't need to control the outcome, just your response. That's what Stoicism is. That's what real power is. And that's why she'll regret it. Not because you told her off, not because you made her feel bad, but because you walked away without needing closure and became someone she no longer has access to. Voluntary disengagement is the modern man's armor. It's how you move through chaos without letting chaos move through you. It's how you go from anxious to untouchable. And once you own it, You don't just change how she sees you, you change how you see yourself. And that, my friend, is the beginning of everything. Here's where it gets deep and where most men miss the mark. When you pull back, when you stop explaining yourself, when you go silent in strength, not weakness, she doesn't just notice. She questions everything. Why? Because silence from a man who used to care loudly is unsettling. It flips the emotional script. And suddenly, she's no longer in control. You see, the psychology behind this is simple but powerful. Humans are wired to crave certainty. She was certain of you. She had your attention, your energy, your time, and most importantly, your emotional response. But when you voluntarily disengage, not out of pettiness, but out of self-respect, you remove that certainty. And here's the truth. No one tells you uncertainty creates obsession. It makes her overthink, replay moments, question her choices. She starts wondering, did I misjudge him? Why hasn't he reached out? Did he actually not care the way I thought he did? That's the beginning of the emotional reversal. Because here's the twist. She was never attracted to your need for her. She was attracted to your centeredness, to your grounded presence, to your confidence in who you were before you made her the center of your world. When that started to slip, so did the attraction. But now, you've reclaimed it. You've shifted from being emotionally available to emotionally sovereign. And that sovereignty irradiates. Let's be brutally honest. Again, most men double down when they feel ignored. They try harder, send longer texts, call more, apologize for things they never did wrong. Why? Because they think doing more equals being valued more. But in reality, doing less with strength creates more impact. It's the absence that's powerful, the silence that makes noise, the calmness that unsettles her. When you stop reacting, she starts reflecting. She sees you doing better, focused, working out, building your life, not throwing shade, not playing games, just rising. That's when her mind starts to spiral. Is he seeing someone else? Did I lose him for good? Why doesn't he care anymore? And the irony? Now she's the one who feels the distance. She's the one who's unsure. And that regret she never expected to feel, it starts to grow. Because the man who once gave everything is now the man who gives nothing unless it's earned. This works not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because you've reclaimed emotional discipline. You've stopped negotiating your value, stopped outsourcing your peace, and started operating from internal power, not external approval. That shift, it's what makes Stoicism more than just a philosophy. It makes it a weapon. You're no longer trying to win her back. You're winning yourself back. And when that happens, she may never say it out loud. She may not message you. She might not admit it to anyone, but trust me, she'll feel it and she'll regret it. Not because you hurt her, but because you healed without her. And that, right there, is a level of attraction no words can create, only your energy can. All right, you've felt the pain. You've understood the psychology. Now it's time to take control. Because knowing this Stoic skill, voluntary disengagement, isn't enough. You have to live it, practice it, bleed it into your behavior until it becomes second nature. And here's how you do it step by step. Step 1, create space before you react. This is where everything changes. Right now, you're conditioned to respond instantly. You feel something and you act. You're triggered and you reply. You're hurt and you reach out. That's emotional slavery. Stoic mastery begins the moment you create space between what happens and how you choose to respond. So next time she pulls back, disrespects you, posts something that feels like a jab, pause. Don't reply. Don't react. Don't internalize it. Instead, observe your emotion without becoming it. Say to yourself, this is a moment to respond like a man of value. The more you pause, the more power you gain. Step 2, observe. Don't absorb. Not everything she does is about you. Not every cold message is a message about your worth. Not every silence is rejection sometimes. It's just noise. You've got to learn to observe behavior without attaching meaning to it. She ghosted? Fine. She flirted with someone else? Let her. You're not here to decode her. You're here to discipline yourself. When you stop absorbing emotional chaos, you stop being ruled by it. That's real freedom. Step 3. Respond with absence, not anger. Now, here's the hard part for most men. You want to prove you're unbothered. So you post, you subtweet, you act cool. But that's not stoic. That's ego. The stoic man doesn't need to be seen. He knows his worth in silence. So when she disrespects you or disappears, you don't fight for attention. You remove your energy completely. You don't leave the door cracked. You close it quietly, firmly, and without needing applause. Absence is the most powerful statement you'll ever make. Step 4. Pour your energy inward. Here's where the magic happens. You're not just disengaging from her, you're re-engaging with yourself. Take the energy you were giving away and pour it into things that cannot betray you. Your body, get in the gym, build discipline through discomfort. Your purpose, build skills, launch projects, make your life too full to chase anyone. Your mind, read, reflect, journal, learn to sit with your own thoughts and master them. Your circle, connect with people who sharpen you, not drain you. The more you build your life, the less you need someone to complete it. And that's the type of man who becomes magnetic effortlessly. Step 5. Let her feel the shift. Now comes the part most men never have the patience for. Let her feel your evolution. Not hear about it, not see it in captions. Feel it in your absence. You don't reach out. You don't try to stay friends. You don't try to prove you're doing better. You just live better. Because if you have to prove you've moved on, you haven't. And here's what'll happen, maybe in weeks, maybe in months. She'll look at you and see a man she no longer has access to. Not because you punished her, not because you hated her, but because you outgrew the version of you that needed her. And that realization, that's when the regret hits. Voluntary disengagement isn't about running away. It's about rising up. And when you live like that consistently, you don't need revenge. You don't need to win the breakup because you already have. And now, the part no one talks about, the part you don't plan for, but the part that always comes. If you stay disciplined, her regret, it doesn't come when you send a long message. It doesn't come when you try to be the bigger person. And it definitely doesn't come when you play mind games or fake being okay. No, regret hits her in the quiet, in the stillness you created, in the gap between who you were and who you've become. She starts to feel it the first time she checks your page and sees less of you but more of your glow. You're not posting to get her attention. You're not throwing shade. You're just different, stronger, more focused, more composed. She scrolls, she pauses, she notices. You're not reacting to her anymore. You're not chasing, you're not even watching her stories. And that silence, it haunts her because she remembers the version of you who gave freely your time, your energy, your love. Now, that man is gone, replaced by a man who's untouchable. She thinks about sending a message, something casual, a little, hey stranger, or just checking in. But she hesitates because deep down, she knows the man who used to need her is now the man who doesn't notice her. That's what hurts her the most. It's not your anger. It's not your revenge. It's your peace. Your calmness screams what words never could. I didn't need closure. I didn't need answers. I just needed time to remember who I am. You see, regret doesn't hit all at once. It builds slowly. It shows up in the moments she didn't expect, when the new guy doesn't match her depth, when she gets attention but not presence, when she laughs, but it feels empty. That's when it hits. You weren't just another guy. You were the guy. But she didn't realize it until she couldn't reach you anymore. And that's the shift you must understand. Your absence becomes more powerful than your presence ever was, but only if you've done the inner work. Only if you didn't fake moving on, but actually moved forward. Only if you've grown so much that going back would be insulting to the man you are now. That's when she feels it. Not because you wanted her to, not because you planned it, but because your evolution made her old version of you unrecognizable. And that's the ultimate regret. I had access to a man who was becoming something rare, and I walked away. But here's the final truth. Her regret isn't your trophy. Your growth is. Because this journey was never about her. It was about you returning to yourself, finding your power, mastering your peace, and learning to love a version of yourself that doesn't beg to be chosen. Let her feel it. Let her wonder. Let her wish she could go back. You move forward. Silently, powerfully, stoically,